The program is 28 days long, 4 weeks, okay? Each week is repeated. So you're doing it, let's say in a given week, if you look at one of the meal maps, and they're so much prettier in the other book. They're all color-coded, and I shouldn't say that out loud. If you go, and it's really funny because I always say go to the meal map and they're not, the pages aren't numbered. You don't have to, but in the middle of your book, you'll see what's called a meal map. This is actually a sample of 1 week. It's a 2-2-3 rotation. What that means is for 2 days, you distinctively eat one way. For 2 days, you distinctively eat another way. And for 3 days, you eat a third way. Let me tell you why I did that. Because each of the food, everybody always says, oh, you left this off the food, this off the list. Why did you leave it off the list? I go, it's more what I put on the list. So again, I view food as medicine. So the first 2 days are what we call adrenal phase. This is really to lower that cortisol level, to kind of seduce or soothe the body into stress reduction, to burn off kind of that excitation. Also really supportive for people if they're coming off of refined sugars or caffeine or things like that. So the foods that I strategically put in there are foods that are specifically for that reason. So kind of try not to get hung up on what I left out. If it's not on the list, I always say people can ask me anything. Don't ask me. If I didn't put it on the list, don't ask me if you can have it. Only reason why is not because I don't believe in bananas, because I think bananas are awesome. I don't like brown ones, but I like bananas. But strategically for what I'm trying to accomplish in this program, which again is to repair the metabolism and get your body so that it can burn using food instead of turning away from food, bananas didn't fit what I needed at the time. Okay. Then for 2 days, you eat strategically another way. This is actually, hi. This is actually your days where a lot of dieters might be a little more familiar with. There's a very high protein, high vegetable for those 2 days. I don't know if I'm on the right thing. And then this is to stimulate the liver. I know we talked a little bit about this on Oz, but basically what we're trying to do here is get the body to release stored fat or historical fat. Okay, because first we have to be able to take food in. Think about what's happening when you're eating. You're taking food in, you're eating, you're chewing, you're swallowing it, and it's either, you know, we wish it just kind of passed through us sometimes, like just said goodbye, enchilada and margarita, but it doesn't. Our body actually has this phenomenal chemistry experiment that happens within. But what we want to do is we want to extract nutrients and build things. We then want to use nutrients to stimulate the release of fats for energy, and then we want to excrete what we don't need. Right? That's what we want to happen. So there's hormone processes that regulate that. There's neurochemical processes that regulate that. There's physiological processes like, are you actually breaking down proteins into amino acids? Are you actually breaking down or chomping your fats? Is it pooling in the bloodstream? What's your blood sugar doing? So this phase is specifically to help release more stored fats. Each of these phases are pretty aggressive though, meaning they're intense in what I put in from a nutrient perspective. They're intense in like the first 2 phases are very intense in the glycemic value. The very next 2 phases are extremely intense in the alkaline, vegetables, and protein value. Because of that intensity, I only want the body to do it for a very short period of time. So it cycles between stimulation and rest and relaxation in order to create true repair. So this would be like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Then you have 3 days. I always call this like kind of, I hope this has 3 days. Oh, I'm upside down. Oh, here we go. Sorry. 3 days. And this is the high healthy fat phase. I don't know how familiar with the book you guys are. High healthy fat phase, but it's strategic. This is my everybody says, oh, I thought you said I could eat anything phase. I think that's really funny. You'll notice I used the word rehab, which I was so embarrassed I said that the other day. But we are trying to, what I meant was rehabilitate the body. And when you are, let's say, rehabilitating. I broke my ankle riding my horse. When I was in the rehabilitation process, most people didn't think it was smart that I was riding with a cast. Of course I did, but it didn't work once I got my cast off and my stitches were exposed to throw my boots on anymore because it was a rehabilitation process. So during those last 3 days, those are the healthy fat days. But strategically, I put, like, for example, there's vegetables at breakfast. That's to stimulate the emulsification of the fats through the gallbladder. We then have no grain. That's to lower the blood sugar level so the body actually scavenges the fat. There's like really weird madness to all my methods. I don't do this for no reason. Like I didn't put something in for no reason. It's always strategic with me, always, right? Like kind of weird. Everything's kind of strategic with me that way. And then in the evening, I have an option for a grain there, and we kind of talk about who should put that in and who might not want to put that in. After you've done that 2-2-3 cycle, you cycle right back, and now you have a new body getting adrenal repair, a whole new body getting fat emulsification and the liver stimulation, and a whole new body. This is my thyroid phase. I love this phase. So what I tell people is all of us are in different places in our lives. We're all exposed to different stressors. We all come from different areas. We all have different health issues. Really take note, because your body is talking to you all day long, every day. Really take note about how you feel, if you feel good, if you feel great in a particular phase, because it tells you, and when you go through the book, it'll tell you like, oh, if you feel this way, it's because this is going on. And I'm really writing a ton of things on the Facebook and the blog about, hey, are you craving salty? This is what it could mean. We just started that whole, what is your body talking to you about kind of stuff that we're going to put on there. You just see all this stuff. We have like stacks of it. It's very exciting. But also, like a lot of people, they can say, I feel really bloated, or I feel really gassy here. Or maybe I don't have a gallbladder. And therefore, I notice when I'm on this phase, if I leave out my vegetable at breakfast, I feel, like everything sits here by the time I get into lunch. Or maybe people say, I notice when I do a grain at dinner, I'm really tired. But when I leave my grain out, I'm not. Maybe that's because you've become a little bit of carb resistant. So there's all kinds of tricks with herbs and spices that we have along the way to kind of help regulate that. Do you have a question?
No.
Oh, okay.
I was thinking.
The first time you do this in a week, like, I don't know if anybody knows, but we have an app. Well, it's only for Apple phones. Sorry, it'll be everybody's phone soon. We have an app coming out April 9th, which is so cool. Like, it's like my neurosis in a phone. Like, I said, I can retire. I mean, it'll tell you, like, you go in and you come here, and it tells you what's appropriate to eat there. Then it takes the grocery list. Then you get to select what you want at the food list. Then it goes, puts it in there. Then it correlates with recipes that might be kind of fun that you might like. Then you can say, add to my grocery list, makes a shopping list. And you take that shopping list and you can email it to your personal shopper and have her go get your groceries. Right? Right. So anyway, that'll be a great tool, but there's all kinds of meal maps and stuff in here, and write on it. Write in your books. You guys actually have I'd call this like your workbook, and maybe your other book, your like sacred book. No, I'm just kidding. But use these pages. Don't tell anybody I said this. Make copies of these pages. And make it a real practical perspective. Keep it simple week 1. Don't get fancy. Don't become a gourmet chef week 1. Keep it really simple. Even if you ate the same thing, you're never going to do it for more than 2 to 3 days. So if you decided to have oatmeal and berries and frozen mangoes and an open-faced sandwich and frozen mangoes and chili, and you did that 2 days in a row, how many of us have ever eaten the same food twice in a week? Okay, it's not rocket science. People say, I don't want to repeat it. I want something new and different. And I go, wow, you must live a really cool, I don't know that I've ever had that experience. I had someone the other day told me they will not eat leftovers. I said, okay, send them home with me. That was my opinion. So in the book, there's a lot about kind of the hows and the whys. I want to make sure that I give you guys, a lot of practical application. I don't spend a lot of time reading to my clients while we sit in the office. I go, okay, what do you got going on this week? I'm flying here, I got kids to take care, I got 3 home sick, or whatever's going on. And we take this and we strategically plan their meal maps around their lives. So, when a person comes back and they say, I felt this way or I felt that way, then I definitely, or if anybody has a question, then I definitely say, okay, well, that's interesting. Maybe we should, and that's why I actually really love the questions on Facebook, just so you know. I don't know, maybe everybody does, but I get really, I don't know, I feel it make me happy because I go, oh, that's awesome, we can add this or we can tweak that. So don't skip through the book though, because I put a lot of things in here that are real life tools